breathing efficiency. What is it and why is it more healthy? What benefits do we get from being a more efficient breather? Today, we're going to strip it back to the basics. Whilst this is usually an in-depth conversation around science, Andy Duckham has just finished my breath science certification, and he asked me if there was any podcasts out there who are just really giving the basics of what breathing efficiency is and the health benefits that you can get from becoming a more efficient breather. I had a quick look, and there wasn't actually that many. So I thought I would spend, just a few moments just to go over what is breathing efficiency, and then what are some of the benefits that I have seen in my clients when they become more efficient breathers, and just some of the simple reasons to why that might happen. But before we go into that, we really need to understand what inefficient breathing is. So breathing efficiency really comes down to mostly the rate of our breathing. How fast do we breathe in terms of how many breaths per minute do we take? We would call this breathing frequency. On the other side of things is also our depth of our breath. And our depth of our breath will then contribute to our overall ventilation. So the depth times the frequency will equal total ventilation in general. Now, that is how much air we're shifting in and out of our lungs with every breath, when we're resting, when we're exercising, and even when we're sleeping. And how we breathe at rest will impact how we breathe when we exercise, and therefore how we breathe when we sleep, and will make an impact on whether we are poor at recovering from exercise, or whether we have poor sleep, or whether we are fast at recovering from exercise and have good quality sleep. So inefficient breathing is breathing too fast. When we're resting, some people may just be relaxing and just mouth open, fast breaths, a rate of more than, say, 16, 17 breaths per minute, and the breath being quite shallow. Maybe it's even into the chest, and it lacks expansion. So we get a shallow breath that's quite fast. And what this is going to do is just going to cause a few different things that are going to occur. Simplicity, I want to just start at the top of our head. When we breathe too fast, or when we breathe through our mouth, we don't entrain the electrical activity in our brain appropriately. So we get what we would call brain waves that are a bit erratic, which can lead to feelings of anxiety and issues related to focus. When we breathe fast, the increased rate of our breathing is directly tied to increased arousal state, and therefore more likely to be anxious. We're also going to be more challenging to regulate emotions, and therefore, even at nighttime, might even have a struggle with sleep. So what are the implications of then moving to efficient breathing? Now, what's efficient breathing? Well, efficient breathing generally means slowing the breath down. Often considered, people might think breathing more is going to bring more oxygen into the body and therefore give you more energy. But there's a bit of a paradox, really, because breathing less can actually get more oxygen down to our muscle cells. There is a study out there where a yogic man breathing one breath per minute for an hour, and that has shown his carbon dioxide levels to be through the roof, his oxygen level to be quite low, his pH to be very acidic, but he was completely calm and focused. That's not to say that we need to be breathing one breath per hour, but what about if we brought our breath rate from 16, maybe down to 10? That means per every single breath, we are getting more oxygen into our body. There's a relationship between how much carbon dioxide we retain in our body and how much oxygen can actually be utilized. So if we start to breathe a little bit slower, then by doing that, we can simply focus on keeping the mouth closed and breathing through the nose. When we breathe through the nose, we're going to get the entrainment of the rhythmic brain waves. And also the breath rate's going to slow down. So we're going to get slowing of the brain waves, and they're going to become rhythmic. So what this does to our brain is it basically states to our body that we're more calm, we're more safe, and therefore we have increased levels of focus. When we breathe a little bit slower and retain maybe a little bit more carbon dioxide rather than blowing it off to the lower end of normal, that relationship between carbon dioxide and oxygen is going to mean better oxygen delivery, which means in physical fitness, we're going to be able to sustain longer endurance for a longer period of time, recover faster from exercise, but also potentially delivering oxygen to the skin and to the peripherals is going to help with injuries and wound healing, for example. Now, we also want to be focusing on ensuring that the breath is gentle and it doesn't have much drive. It's nice and calm as it moves in and out the nose. This is going to also lead to decreased anxiety. We want to ensure that the breath is slow. We've talked about that already. And then we want an expansive breath. And this just puts us into a state of more parasympathetic nervous activity, which is going to increase things like anti-inflammatory reflexes. So it's going to help aid in our immune system. Finally, if we breathe slower, we breathe more expansive, we breathe nasally, this is also going to reduce our arousal rate when we go to sleep. Now, there's a direct relationship between the rate of our breathing and the depth of sleep that we can actually get. They intricately work together. So when we breathe slower, not only do we feel more calm and therefore it's easier to switch off, we can actually get into a deeper stage of sleep. And this stage 3 sleep is where we recover our body, we recover our brain. So a lot of people can wake up feeling a lot more refreshed and feeling as if they have more energy during the day. So some of the very simple, basic health benefits of just breathing more efficiently are reduced anxiety, increased focus, more mental clarity, improved sleep quality, improved energy, and even potentially improved overcoming injuries, and also improved immune system. So that's some of the basics of breathing efficiency and the health benefits that we can get from becoming a more efficient breather. And now you have the opportunity, should you wish, to learn from myself even deeper on the reasons to why we dive deeper into this in the Breath Science Practitioner's course. However, there's also myself and my certified Breath Science practitioners, just like Andy, who you can give a follow at the Breathwork PT on Instagram. Drop him a message. He's over in the UK, in the Norfolk area, should you wish to reach out to him to become more of an efficient breather. Drop any questions if you've been watching this on YouTube, or leave a comment, share the podcast, and I look forward to catching you next week.